With the Ubuntu 25.10 release, I'm taking the opportunity to do a survey of the state of readiness for Wayland in the Linux ecosystem. Well, who needs to be ready? Well, that's the toolkits, which by and large all have a Wayland backend. The applications that are built using the toolkits typically need some small modifications and rebuilding, but most of those have now made the transition and support Wayland natively. Compositors is obviously my area of interest with Miriway and Mir, and the desktop environments are still a work in progress, and that's the progress I'm about to talk to you. But from the point of view of GNOME, they have already dropped X11 support and are going Wayland only. KDE has Wayland support, so does Sway, and still working on it are XFCE, LXQt, Mate and Budgie. But you can try those out, and I've been trying them with Miriway. So here's an example of the way things are fitting together. Your input devices, keyboards, mice, etc., and your screens are driven by the compositor. They need some close integration with the desktop specific components such as panels and wallpaper, and the apps have a much less intimate relationship and talk around across a normal Wayland set of protocols. If you look at XFCE, now this is XFCE running on Miriway, and the panels are all appearing sensibly. You can run applications by looking on the menus. You've got workspaces showing at the top there. If you switch workspaces and open applications, you can see what's going on. The workspaces show at the right, and if you switch workspaces, you switch between the applications running on them. All the normal components within the environment work, the app finder, the terminal, that's all happily running on Wayland on Miriway. This is the configuration for Miriway to run with the XFCE components. It's just a configuration file, and it's one of the examples that's produced in part of the project. LXQt also looks fairly normal when running on Wayland on Miriway. Desktop components are working, the app finder is working. You can run things, they work as you'd expect. Miriway supports a range of keyboard shortcuts, and there's a configuration. There's a couple of hacks to make things work because the LXQt toolbar doesn't actually obey the protocols correctly, and I couldn't find a suitable background without going to Sway. But by and large, their desktop components are working fine. Mate is in a similar situation. The panels placed correctly, the menus work. You can launch applications, the app finder just works. Terminal again, and there's the configuration file. Again, that's using Sway to produce the background. Budgie's not quite there yet. The panels do not correctly place themselves yet. This is the version of Mate Budgie in the Ubuntu 25.10 archive. But the applications, the desktop panels, they all actually work on Wayland. There's just the integration's a bit lacking. I was told that there's some improvements on the Mate PPA, and if you run with the PPA, you will see that things actually are positioning correctly and driving correctly. So that's all pretty promising. It's not quite there, but it's good. Another thing I want to talk about is the work that Mir has been doing on accessibility and the work Miriway has been doing on settings. So accessibility are things like this magnifier, and I'm going to show you how the settings integrate with that. If you pull up the stylish Miriway settings application, some of you might recognize this, you can go and change the settings in this file, and when you save those settings you see that those are reflected immediately. There's quite a lot of settings in this file, but I'm just going to demonstrate a few. There's the magnifier here. You can change the magnification or the size of the capture area, and if you change that and save the file, then the changes are immediately made. There's a variety of options in this file. You can also change the cursor scale. So if you go for the cursor scale, uncomment the setting, change it to something other than default, when you save it, you see the change reflected immediately. I'm not going to go through everything in this file. You can see there's quite a few things there. It's also got input configuration options, but those are not easy to demonstrate in a video. I'll just show you the grayscale output filter. There's a variety of filters, and you can change those by the same process. So in summary, Miriway is working on the desktop. XFCE, LXQt, Mate, they will work with it quite nicely. Budgie is almost there. And in conclusion, everyone's almost ready.